Joining me now is my Friday panel, New South Wales One Nation leader Tanya Mihailuk and broadcaster Chris Ilsley. Hi to you both.
Hi,
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Well, look, let's start with Andrew Giles. I mean, Tanya, is it strange to you that he's still in charge of the immigration portfolio?
No, it's not strange, and primarily because Albanese picks and sticks with his mates. And Giles is a long mate. You know, he's been friends with Albanese for many, many years. He was a factional ally, helped him in getting the leadership in the first place. Giles is a significant member of the Socialist Left from Victoria. And as we know, Albanese is a member of the Socialist Left in New South Wales. So they've been friends for a very long time. And Albanese will stick with his mate here. And for a couple of reasons. One, he doesn't want any instability. He knows, as somebody who lived through the Gillard and Rudd years, that he knows that any disunity can lead to huge problems for him. So he will not want to reshuffle his cabinet, even though it may be in his interests and certainly in the interests of Australia to move Giles on. And also, he's in a position now where it seems that he's had a role himself in stopping Direction 99 being tightened. We know that he was cozying up to Jacinta Ardern a couple of years back, you know, another Labor friend.
Always a friend.
In New Zealand, that's right, always friends. And he clearly agreed. He's denying it, but obviously some deal was struck at that time and he's sticking with it. And the problem he has is that if he lets go of Giles, well, these issues will be presented and become a major problem for him. So he will hold on to Giles for as long as he can. I think he would rather go down with the ship than have the facts being presented to the public. Ultimately, we know that they put the interests of New Zealand in front of the interests of Australia.
Oh, well, I mean, that's very clear. It's in evidence now. Chris, the government, you know, has been caught out here on the back foot again. We saw it, as I said, with that High Court decision, now with Direction 99. Can Labor be trusted when it comes to immigration and border protection?
Well, part of the reason why they can't be trusted, Danica, is because they're not saying what they really believe. And this is the whole problem. The policies they're pursuing are not the policies that they claim to be pursuing. So when we look at things like Direction 99, the reason we have Direction 99 is because that's what they truly believe in. That is the policy they want. Now, they understand, and they've done their focus groups and they've done their market research, so they know that the public isn't on board with this. So what they're saying is, well, let's tell the people what they want to hear. In the meantime, we'll go off and do what we want to do. That's what it's all about, and that's the major problem. They're not being honest with people. Now, that's also the reason why I suspect that Anthony Albanese is not planning to remove him anytime soon, because if he does, he might end up with somebody who isn't going to pursue the policies that he secretly wants pursued, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's always some sort of secretive backroom deal with this government.
Yes.
Now, the big news today, of course, was former US President Donald Trump has been found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in his hush money trial in New York. Tanya, are you surprised by the verdict?
No, no one is. I think we've all been waiting for the verdict. Everyone knew that ultimately a state like New York, you know, Democrat-led state, Democrat-aligned judge, there's a district attorney there, Bragg, who literally, bragged by name and by nature. He got out there and instantly bragged about, that he did his job. So, this is a small win for the Democrats, and that's all it is ultimately, because the public have really, there's so much momentum now behind Trump in the US. The polling for the last 18 months has not changed. There's momentum. People want change in the US. They've had a gutful of the current administration, and all this is a nothing one-day win for the Democrats. That's it. I think the only verdict that matters for Trump will be what happens in November.
Yes.
He'll get the sentence will be on July 11th, a couple of days before the Republican National Convention. They're still going to nominate Trump. Nothing's going to change. No. It's unlikely that Trump will be incarcerated. All the reports suggesting that won't be the case. In any event, he's going to appeal this decision. This will go on for another 12 months. What I love about America, Danica, is that he won't be able to own a gun, but he can still run for president despite having conviction. Okay, I love it. I love it.
I love the US. Only in America would that happen.
I love it.
Chris, how do you see this playing out? Do you agree with Tanya that this will only bolster him further?
Oh, it is. It's going to absolutely bolster him further. And the funny thing is, even if he went to jail, I was having a look at this, he could still be elected.
Correct.
Like, going to jail per se does not preclude him being elected. So imagine this scenario. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, he went to jail. I think the chances are he would still win the election. He would then become president, and one imagines give himself a presidential pardon. All they've done is create more of a hero. I think this has just bolstered Donald Trump's chances of winning. I don't think this is going to hurt him one bit. Look, in most other cases, this sort of circumstance would almost be a political death knell. But because nobody sees Donald Trump as being a politician in the true sense, what's happening is every time they get him, it's like, see, they're out to get me.
Yes.
And people go, yeah, they're out to get you, all right, and we're going to support you. So it's one of those things where people are really getting into it and they're really wanting to stick the knives into Trump. And the more they do it, the greater his success. It's quite ironic, really.
It really is. I mean, he's already had this ironclad base, and now they're just they're still there, and they're not going anywhere.
Well,
that's the thing.
Yeah, they're saying that the more money's been put in the last 6 to 8 hours since the announcement. So
correct. I'm not
more
surprised.
and more funds raised as a result.
I'm not surprised. And a reminder to our viewers that there will be a special edition of the US Report with James Morrow at 8 p.m. after this, so don't miss it. But look, let's move on, because the Australian is reporting that the University of Sydney professor, her name is Sajantha Fernandez, has told first-year sociology students that Hamas's mass rapes and sexual violence on October 7 were, quote, fake news and a hoax peddled by the media, and that Israel had engaged in ethnic cleansing propped up by Western governments that had represented domestic dissent. Tanya, this is absolutely disgraceful.
Well, University of Sydney's got a very big problem. They've allowed this to continue. They've got protests there every day, disrupting students' lives there at Sydney University. You've got a Vice-Chancellor that for some reason is trying to negotiate with these people and trying to cut a deal with them for no reason, because they're not going to leave. And he's got a bigger problem now, because he's got members of the faculty now, choosing their narrative, picking and choosing what they want from the UN, and citing fact when really it's only opinion, or supposedly suggesting it's a fact when it's just opinion. The idea that you can, I feel for those students in their sociology class, and I've got to say, if there are students that have taken offence, they should ask for their money back, because maybe that's the only way University of Sydney's going to learn, when people turn around and say, you know what, I'm being taught rubbish here. These aren't facts.
No.
And these are a lecturer's opinion. They're not declaring any conflicts when they should. She should make it very clear where she stands on this position.
Absolutely.
Right at the start of the class, and actually give an opportunity for those students who don't agree with her views to leave and get their money back. I mean, it's an expensive exercise getting a degree in Australia.
So expensive.
But the university has a big problem. They've got already a lot of criticism internationally because they've got these non-stop protests on site, and they've done nothing to stop it.
Yeah.
And now, ultimately, it's getting worse when you've got members of the faculty pushing their own agenda, suggesting something is a fact when it's just their opinion.
Yeah.
And really, what are they doing about it? This is a significant university, and they cannot continue to ignore this issue.
Well, they've been ignoring the encampments. They haven't done anything about it. You've got Jewish students scared to come to university. I mean, it's just terrible. Look, speaking of opinion, ABC boss David Anderson says that Laura Tingle will keep her job despite the hurt her controversial remarks caused. Chris, we know that she said that Australia is a racist country. Are we a racist country?
I don't think so. I've never thought so, and to be honest, I've never seen anything to suggest that we are. But also, the ABC has an obligation to impartiality. The idea is that the ABC presents a story. This is what side A says, this is what side B says, and let people work it out for themselves. More and more, we're seeing activism from the ABC, and essentially what we have is the Commonwealth Public Service with transmitters, as far as I can see. We're funding something that allows people to push their own agenda. Now, that's fine. I'll happily go to the ABC and push my own agenda, as I would imagine would a lot of other broadcasters. But its obligation is to impartiality. The reason being because everybody, regardless of their opinion, regardless of their politics, regardless of their socio-economic status, funds the ABC. So therefore it is supposed to be for everyone. But it quite clearly isn't. And I think we've got to the point, Danica, where the ABC is actually no longer pretending to be impartial. It doesn't even bother trying to pretend it any longer, simply because nobody, not even the lefties who support it, can actually believe that it truly is impartial, because it isn't.
No, it's absolutely not. In the end, it's meant to present both sides fairly of the argument. Tanya, you've got Laura Tingle clearly expressing her opinion. She's not an opinion host.
Look, she's discredited herself, really, and her own peers, and exposed what we already know about the ABC. There's such extreme left-wing ideology coming from the ABC. They haven't been impartial, and of course Chris is right, they haven't been impartial for a very long time. And it's only exposed what everybody knew, that Laura Tingle and many of her colleagues have these extreme left-wing views. And I'm glad it's been exposed, actually. I'm glad it's been exposed. I don't suggest that she should lose her job, I've got to be honest. But I do think I'm glad that it's been exposed, because it's time that people saw how extreme the ABC have become. It's the taxpayer money going to the ABC, and people need to start questioning what's being produced out of this network, that network.
Very clearly. Look, before I let you both go, I've got to ask you about this, because a woman has sparked controversy after breaking a carrot, literally breaking a carrot in half, in a produce section at Coles and putting the remaining part back. Now, she claims she was making salad for lunch and only needed half a piece. She claims it's a money-saving hack. Chris, is it a money-saving hack? What do you think?
Well, did it work? Did she save money? Did she pay less for the carrot that she needed? If the answer is yes, then I guess the answer is yes. What would my wife say about something like that? I think she would describe it as disgusting.
Correct.
So
Correct.
On behalf of family harmony, I'm going to say I think that's disgusting.
Yes.
Personally, I would say, well, if she saved money, good on her.
Well, I've got a different view, Chris, because, and I'm with your wife on this one, it is disgusting. And don't think for a moment that she didn't go out afterwards and buy herself an oat latte, okay? Right? I'm sure she got her nails done and her hair done, okay? I mean, really, it's 30 cents a carrot. What did she save? All she's done is just show how entitled she is. I think it's terrible.
And also yuck, manhandling that carrot,
it's awful.
Disgusting. Tanya Mihailuk
on social media.
Tanya Mihailuk, Chris Ilsley, good to have you both on the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Danica. It's been my pleasure.